Welcome back to the show that puts Hollywood to shame because some of the movies we watched this week were lame. This is Popcorn and Beers, where some use tomatoes and others use thumbs. We use the stuff that gets you drunk. Welcome back. But we've got some good ones, and by good ones I mean our reviews of these movies, not the movies themselves, this week. And I'm just going to lead off with Josh because it's been so long since he got to give us his thoughts on A Butter on Top. Josh, what did you think of Madam Web?
Hey, kids, welcome to class, 6th grade class. We need to write a movie in 5 minutes. Hurry up. That's what this movie was. Yeah, ham-handed lines that made you laugh out loud. Like, I can't remember any specifically, but, like, it's very much like in the trailer. They took it out of the movie, but in the trailer, she's like, he was with my mother when she was in Peru studying spiders back in the day. Like, what was that? Who wrote that? Anyway, whatever. This movie sucks, but it was funny. It was funny. It was cool, like, what they were trying to do. Like, let's talk about what they were trying to do and then, like, revisit in 10 years. I don't know. Popcorn, dude.
That was it. That was a very, very thought out, very thorough review, Jordan.
Yeah, like, exactly. What the hell was that opening scene? That's exactly what you were talking about.
2 in a row. What he said.
One. Ditto. Yeah. The pod.
The acting, terrible. Dialogue, terrible. Especially the villain guy. Just everyone has their moments of just bad acting and okay, passable, but he is just terrible throughout. Why is he barefoot all the time?
Oh, this character is in the comics. Ezekiel's barefoot all the time.
Okay, all right. Well, yeah, you get some Utero Spider-Man and Emma Roberts, his Spider-Mom. Dakota Johnson is just fantastic to look at. She's like an alien. She's like an alien to me. I don't know. She's just...
It's always Jordan, the first one to say, she party, though.
Sorry. I don't understand what universe this is taking place in. I was very confused. I was Googling it throughout the whole movie. Like, wait, so this girl, they get powers? How do they get powers? When do they get powers? What's Dakota Johnson's powers exactly? Yeah, terrible. Was this better or worse than Morbius?
I don't know, man.
The same.
The same?
Spider-Man meme.
Yeah.
No. Okay. Popcorn.
Yeah, dude,
Popcorn.
I'm sorry, but coming back, there's so much that they were trying to do, but there was a whole lot of like, okay, but...
Was there?
Like, they were trying to show, like, Uncle Ben's story. That was a cool idea, but... And then they were trying to do, like, in the early 2000s, and that was a cool idea, but did you just want to show us a blockbuster? Is that what this was? Like, what the hell? What? There was a lot of, like, bunch of Spider-Man. That worked last time, but... I mean,
you also never get that. You also never get that.
Right.
Like, all the talk that Sydney Sweeney did leading up to this was about her character and how she wanted to make it true to the comics, and she's in it as a spider person for like a half second.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every other scene, I'm like, dang, if that's not an almost 30-year-old woman trying to look 19 or 16.
And that's what pisses me off, too, about so many superhero movies. You spent so much money on that costume. R&D and artists to make sure this looks really good. And it did look really good on her. It's a cool costume. And we see it, I don't know, how many millions of dollars did that cost for us to see it for a minute or whatever?
I do want us to workshop a bit where we act out lines from some of the worst movies, but I'm just going to give you one right now. Are they family? Yes, they're mine. Is there anything we can get you? I've got everything I need right here. It was so bad. Random soundtrack. And when I say random soundtrack, there's literally a truck stop diner playing Britney Spears and a bunch of stuff, which you never hear at a diner, like ever, especially that specific diner that they were in. And they're trying to put us in the 90s. Meanwhile, all of them look like they're in the 2000s. So it's not working too well. And I put with the cast, how did you screw this up? you actually got a pretty solid cast. Like, I'm not a huge fan of Dakota Johnson's work, but I respect the actress.
Yeah, Sweeney's a killer.
Yeah, Sweeney's been making hits back to back hits.
He's gonna have an Oscar in 5 years.
The White Lotus, she's been popping. Now she's entitled to a couple duds. She's got one romantic comedy that appears to be a dud in the theater right now. This is a dud. Adam Black is great. Mike Epps. Like, how did you screw this up? This is actually a pretty decent cast. But then I say, how did you screw this up? And incoming the villain. He is the worst actor I have ever seen.
Yeah.
Is he famous because he's pretty? Because he's not that pretty. And he's not a good actor. So I did not understand.
They just made a call out. We just need someone who is not afraid to pretend to hold a CG spider.
It was just really, he was really bad in every scene he was in. Not a single scene I can think of was like, wow, that was good acting. Like, it was all bad. How do you make taking a picture with a Kodak camera of a notebook bad acting? Anyway, the realization scene where she was realizing that she's Madam Web was awful. It was just terrible. And
am I Madam Web?
Why can't they go for a joke too? That Sony, like, whoever's directing this goes for a very common Sony joke, or pardon me, Marvel joke, where she's, maybe I can climb walls for no reason at all, and then she just falls, and it's terrible acting by her. Like, it wasn't sold at all. I didn't laugh. I was just like, really? Like, that was, you went for the joke and you didn't. You get to do this over and over again, and that was the best. Okay,
it's like a YouTube Spider-Man parody.
It was so bad.
TikTok.
And then, Josh, you mentioned this in the pre-show via text. The dialogue, it was written by a third grade class, like you said. It was so bad. The dialogue was just, every single line was like, was that really our best choice here? Yeah. If they improv the whole movie, it would have been better.
That's a great idea. First of all, we need a spoof superhero team with like all improv actors. Just like, let's make it up.
Eugene Levy slides down from the ceiling as Spider-Man with 2 left feet. All right. So again, for me, it is a popcorn. Josh, you lead us off. It was your drunk classic this week. Oh, yeah. You were doing it to make Jordan watch a great movie. Go ahead.
Let's move on to the guaranteed popcorn in 3. Tombstone. We watched Tombstone. I've said it at least twice on this show. I've watched this movie a lot, even since the show started. Everyone's watched it a lot except for Jordan. It's really weird because it's on TV all the time. I love it. I've talked about it before. It's a monster cast. We can get into that. But I wanted to point out something I didn't quite see the same. I always talk about Doc Holliday, right? And everyone's good in this movie. Everyone nails it. But honestly, Kurt Russell, I guess I don't know how I missed it, how good he is in this movie. Because he has that scene with Billy Bob.
Doc Holliday? Or were you saying Doc Holliday?
I always bring up Doc Holliday because this is his, like, this is Val Kilmer's Joker for Heath Ledger. You know what I mean? This is it.
Yeah. One of his best performances for sure.
For sure. But also Kurt Russell, like the way he has that stone face, like getting the guy in the gunpoint in the Thomas Hayden Church in the thing, and then when he like squares off with Billy Bob, but then really the scene is like when he gets his badge, he's like, "You see that? It says U.S. Marshal," and like his fury is fun. It's real. It's good. It's good. Popcorn in 3. I can talk about it all day. Go on.
Man, I would have liked that. Jordan, what did you think of the first time seeing it?
Yeah, just a lot of recognizable young faces. You're like, hey, wait a minute, is that Billy Bob Thornton? It is Billy Bob Thornton. For most of the movie at the beginning, I'm like, why is Val Kilmer so clammy? Like, why does he look like that? Like, is that what alcohol?
It says it right at the beginning of the movie.
Does it?
It literally says it right at the beginning. He went out west in hopes that the fresh air would help cure his tuberculosis. It says it immediately.
Oops. Like, why are you so sweaty? In the midst of everything, all the action going on, you get some feminism, which is, it's cool.
I saw that too. The wagon rolling through town.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool, but I was
like, forcing it a little bit.
Yeah. Equal wages, no matter the sex. Just riding through the town. Yeah, I did catch that. Yeah.
The scene after it was really good acting. It's a good movie. Just I'm never really in the mood for just like a straight up Western movie, like a very serious Western movie. I never feel like I'm what the vibe is on that for me. The scene after his brother Morgan, I think it's his younger brother, right? Mm-hmm. He dies and he's got all the blood on his hand, and the women, in the rain. That was just too much for me.
You know what? That's a big scene. I always wonder about that. Like everyone for no reason just like shits on Wyatt Earp. Like, he doesn't want to talk right now, you moron. You know, and like, why is everyone all of a sudden, Wyatt is the one telling him from the beginning, we should not do this over and over, and now it's his fault?
Yeah.
You brought us here. Crazy.
And then, Doc Holliday is a great character and all that, until the end on his deathbed where he admits that his true love was his 15-year-old cousin, first cousin.
Yeah.
Which is historically accurate.
I was like, oh, God. Yikes. And this is the ending where they're coming out of the theater and they dance outside, and it's just so cheesy. It's so cheesy. It's
90s cheese.
It's so cheesy. As far as Westerns go and all that, it's up there. It's one of the best, honestly.
It really is one of the best.
They're all pretty cheesy, and
it was the best in a long time. There hasn't really been a dope. In my opinion, I mean, in a long time, there hadn't been a Western like that. I mean, you got the Young Guns, of course, but that's not the same kind of Western as a Western.
The Harder
so
They
things
Fall
came
great.
before, and obviously the 50s was huge. The 60s was huge for Wyatt Earp and all this. But I wanted to ask you, Jordan, how did you feel about this, knowing that, like, it's pretty dang accurate. Like, pretty dang accurate. Aside from, like, the character interactions, like the love affairs and stuff. But, like, the things that happened really happened. He really did walk out on the water with a shotgun and blast people, etc.
Yeah. No, it was cool. It was really good. I liked it. As far as like Westerns go, for me, it's just not really my genre, but I thought it was cool. I give it a popcorn and 2. Just the cheese, cheese and the age and all that. I was like, it was good.
It's definitely, good. I would definitely say it's in the list of things that rewatching it only makes it better. Because then you get to see the inflections when Val Kilmer says what he says. Like, Wyatt Earp is my friend. I got lots of friends. I don't. In that moment in his face, you can see there's got a lot going on, dude. And when he's talking shit like, whatever do you mean? Let's have a spelling contest. Like, oh my goodness. Anyway, go ahead, Frye.
We'll see which one of us is pushing daisies first.
Yeah.
No, Jordan, have you ever seen the movie The Last Castle?
No. Never even heard of it.
It's James Gandolfini. You should probably, and Robert Redford, you should probably check it out, because some of the stuff you say about war reminds me of James Gandolfini's character, and it's very important to hear Robert Redford's response to James Gandolfini, I think, in that scene. Not by any means a great movie, by the way.
I forgot about that.
It is. It's an enjoyable movie. It's not a great movie, but like, if you don't think they're going for an Oscar here, and you just watch it, it's a good movie. Now, for Wyatt Earp, the heroin addiction, right away. Like, they slap you right in the face with it, just like Kurt Russell slapped the guy that slapped his horse. All right? It is in your face immediately, like, some milk of the poppy. Don't drink too much. You're going to get addicted. Hey, did you know your wife's addicted to this stuff? She'll be all right. I'm going to cheat on her anyway. So there's a lot of that going on. And and I even put the weirdest, most unnecessary love story inserted for no reason. Now, granted, like you said, Josh, they're trying to be historically accurate. However, who cares? Like, there was not more of a who cares than that and Billy Zane in his wig.
I think, well, he's in theater, so it counts. It's in theater. He's a theater guy. It could have been a wig for his character, too. But, the love story, I feel like, little backstory, a lot of this movie was, like, barely made. Kurt Russell ended up secretly being the director of most of it. They cut out a lot of Kurt Russell's scenes by his own volunteer. He volunteered to have some of his scenes cut so the other actors could have more screen time because budget was the thing. People were about to drop out. A lot of people were unsure about the whole thing. So Kurt Russell saved the film, and doing so, he kind of sacrificed some scenes because I guess there was more to that love story, making it a little deeper. They left that out.
Yeah, because it was stupid.
Maybe so.
Anyway, for me, it's a popcorn and 2. Kurt Russell does do a bit of overacting in it, but you kind of enjoy it. You kind of love it when he's doing it. And yeah. There's quite a bit, and then there's underwhelming scenes where he's playing it very low, low key in his role. So there's quite a few things to like, and there's quite a few things to laugh at. Now we've come a long way. At the end of the day, it is Val Kilmer's, in my opinion, maybe second best performance to Batman.
Second?
But
really? Okay. All right. A little another little small trivia fun fact. The guy Thomas Hayden Church, he played the cur, who was always running away.
Yeah.
He was solid drunk every scene, like in real life. He got himself nice and toasty, so he had that red, and he slurred his lines. Like he was playing method.
Nice.
So, outside of maybe Iceman, this might be my favorite Val Kilmer role, and he crushed it. He crushes it. He's amazing in it. It's a popcorn and 2 for me. Let's move on to what we were watching. I'm going to kick us off. I watched The Mission, which is a documentary on the young man that wanted to be a missionary, and he felt it was his calling from God to go to the North Sentinel Islands, or I can't pronounce it, Andaman's Islands, out in India, and basically convert a tribe that has not been contacted by humans because they kill people. And I think there's a movie about it they keep referencing in here. It's like The Tip of the Spear or something, referencing a movie that really inspired him. I think it's called The Tip of the Spear.
Yeah,
but I might be wrong. But it's about a bunch of missionaries who go to the Amazon. Yeah, I've seen it too. When they started showing clips from it, I was like, oh snap, I've seen that movie.
Yeah.
Basically, all the husbands end up getting killed, but you don't get to see the back half of it, which is all the women went to grab their husbands' bodies and then ended up being missionaries anyway, and they actually ended up converting this Peruvian tribe into Christians, and they traveled around the world showing them off like their trophies, which really pissed me off. Like nothing makes me more angry than that stuff.
God loves that kind of thing.
You see the father who was totally against it the whole time, and the mother not understanding, and they really talk about some indoctrination of evangelical Christianity and what it does to people, and how the father, though he was Christian, knew that was a bad place for his son to be, and tried very hard to get his son to not do it, but the harder he pushed, the more his son pulled, and his son ends up going to this island. If pirates have to take you to the island, it's probably a sign. And there is a scene where he is holding up the Bible, saying, I come here in peace. A child shoots the Bible out of his hand. And they explain to him, like experts on these tribes, hey, that was a warning shot. If they wanted to kill you, they would have. And the guy goes back.
That's out of a movie.
And the guy goes back, and he gets killed. And they haven't recovered his body yet. There's a lot of assumptions on what allegedly has happened to him, but all they were able to recover was his notebook. And that's what this documentary is based on, is his notebook. The parents turned it over to raise awareness, but it is very trippy, and you really feel for the dad, and you kind of see how some of these sects, we'll call them sects of religion, are really just a cult, man. They're just, you're in a cult, and you're trying to go turn other people into your cult, and you don't understand it.
Yeah,
and it's dangerous.
You have the purest of heart, all this, but you know what? Some people will rationalize anything. You know, they'll do it. They'll get on a boat with pirates, etc. Like they'll rationalize anything.
And I'm not knocking these people's life work. I'm really not. I hate to sound like that. It's your choice. As long as you're not killing anybody or doing other terrible things, live your life. But at the same time, man, there was a reason why people weren't going to this island, and this guy gets killed, and his parents now don't get to bury their little boy. So I gave this documentary a popcorn and 1. I felt like we could have gotten a little bit more in depth, but they did a really good job. The animations were really cool too, because they did a lot with animation. That was very interesting. Jordan, what was your first review?
My first review. Well, let's see. I watched a documentary as well. It was starring Frye. It was on the muffletta sandwich.
Ha!
So he talked about the muffletta sandwich on
Yeah.
Gorp for like a solid 15 minutes.
It's
Yeah.
delicious.
Anyways.
Oh, goodness.
Anyways, no, I got to the theater twice this week and I saw Bob Marley One Love. And, it wasn't the best screenplay. It just didn't feel like a movie with a strong narrative. You guys mentioned he doesn't look like him like at all. He's way taller and all that.
Mhm.
That didn't bother me so much. I could get past that easily. I thought he did a good job. It was just a good acting job in general. That just they made him come off maybe a little self-righteous, like a little too
prophetic.
Yeah, and he was kind of a meanie at points in the movie to just random people. I'm like, I mean, I'm sure that some of these things actually happen, but maybe it's just the smugness of the actor's face that just some things didn't play very playfully when he's like joking with people and stuff. I don't know. But the music is beautiful.
Smugness.
Yeah, the music is beautiful, and he had a beautiful message that comes through this film, the heart of it all. The thick Jamaican patois is really hard to pick up throughout the movie. There's a lot of
everybody likes
it's great. Yeah. It was fantastic. It's funny at times because you're just like, you don't understand what that guy said, but it was funny.
You all the way back to Belly.
Yeah.
Not up for fun.
I give this a popcorn. Oh, man. It's teetering so hard on between 1 and 2 because it just wasn't really it wasn't really a movie. Like, I don't know. And there wasn't enough of the things that you want. Like, there wasn't
It's a popcorn in one.
It's popcorn in one. Okay, it's a popcorn.
It wasn't really a movie.
It gets minus point just for being a biopic. Like, can we calm down for a minute with the biopics?
Yeah.
Unless it's a good one, then we'll accept it.
Well, okay, there's always Ray.
Popcorn one.
Ray was good. Elvis was good. I liked Elvis. It wasn't the best. Like, Tom Hanks really takes you out of the movie. But Austin Butler did a fantastic job in the role, I still have to watch The Whale. You guys just reminded me. Anyway, Josh, what's your first? Or your only? Your everything.
My first and my only. And it was only like 11 minutes long. I watched... I'm a little late to the game, but I watched If Anything Happens, I Love You. Is that what it's called? I think.
Yep.
This went viral. I think a lot of people saw it already, but it's on Netflix. Go check it out. Everyone should watch it, at least in America. Go ahead and just watch it no matter what. It ends up being a short animation about a true story of a school shooting. And you don't realize what's happening until the very end, unless you had it spoiled for you, like just now. Sorry. But in the end, it's just a really quick, beautiful, artistic animation. And if you want to just go ahead and have a nice little cry real quick, then go ahead and watch it. Like, you're going to cry in 10 minutes. Guaranteed. Everybody. So I'm going to say just on what it is and social content, etc., how things like school shootings are so frequent and so prevalent in America. They're overlooked so often. Shootings in general.
We just had one.
Yeah.
We just talked about it on the Sad Fan.
So. Rest in peace to the KC folks. Sorry to hear that. Like, shootings in general. But this is one small story about one family, just one family, and how powerful these things are. That it affects an entire town, and it affects the world is affected every time, and we just don't see it sometimes. And this is a great, quick little look at how real this issue is. So figure it out, dude. Popcorn at 2.
I was going to say, you want to give us a rating, or are you just going to leave that one there?
No, Popcorn at 3. Everyone should watch it. It's quick. You're not going to be disappointed. Popcorn at 3.
And everybody deserves a good cry. So the second movie for me this week was Players, the new film by, I think it's Keenan Wayans. No, not Keenan Wayans. The youngest Wayans.
Damon Wayans Jr.?
Conan Doyle.
No, the youngest one, is that Damon Wayans Jr.? No, the youngest Wayans.
Lil Wayans.
Damon Wayans Jr.
Are you sure?
Lil Wayans.
Like brother or Damon Wayans Jr. as in Damon Wayans' son?
Okay, is that
Lil
who it is?
Wayans.
Yeah.
Okay, so there you go, Josh. Edit that how you will. Anyway, he is in this with the actress that played in Jane the Virgin, and just stop me if you've heard this before. Best friends fall in love while chasing someone else. And the whole time they're chasing somebody else, the movie's like, you guys belong together. You guys belong together. You've always been in love. You've always been in love. And at the end of the movie, they're like, hey, we've always been in love. We should admit this to ourselves. And then they fall in love. Now, they tried to modernize this trope quite a bit, and they did a bad job at it. It was just over the top, terrible acting. They call it plays when they pick up people in bars. And they do plays, and you can't get a relationship off of point of play, basically acting out a scenario to get you a date with somebody. And it was interesting, and they attempted something. They went for it. It wasn't good. I gave this a popcorn simply because I didn't want to give it a popcorn. I wanted to give it less than a popcorn. However, their ability to pull off her love for the Yankees throughout the movie and then just always be outside Yankee Stadium and never having to pay the Yankees to film inside the stadium was fantastic and way to go on their part. So a popcorn. Yes, sir. Josh, did you want to say something? You just let me.
Oh no, I was apologizing for my phone going off. Sorry.
I thought you were gonna salsa. Is what I thought. I thought that was the salsa alarm.
My salsa.
Jordan, what was next for you?
So I was absent last week, but I just want to give a couple quick pointers on the last two main segments. You guys covered both of these, almost entirely. Orion in the Dark, solid popcorn. Very bad movie. I did not like it. The voice actor kind of sounded like Patrick Mahomes. So that was my take on that.
Josh said it sounded like Seth Rogen.
Rocky 3, definitely the most racist of the Rocky franchise. Definitely.
You don't think the one where we are super anti-Russia might have been? Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, but that's Russia. Popcorn and 2.
Popcorn
and 2, yeah.
Oh, in your face, Josh. Eat it.
Yeah.
Eat a big one.
I'm a sucker for Rocky. It's nostalgia. I'm sorry.
Obviously. I mean, I know that I'm like the one person,
Yeah.
Thunder lips. All right. So, to continue my run towards the Oscars, which are March 10th, so I think maybe our next show, probably our next show or the show after that, we're going to have to do our Oscar predictions.
Okay.
Now,
nice.
I try to watch every Oscar movie. I do my best leading up to it. I got to get onto the shorts and I got to get on the documentaries. I haven't watched any of those yet, and I'm catching up on Best Picture. And Past Lives is up for Best Picture, and it really makes you think, instead of going so deep into, like, we're always in these different dimensions, they use a Korean saying to state, like, basically that anyone that you marry, you've had 8,000 touch points throughout history with this person. And it all leads to you eventually finding each other in this life. So throughout history, something has led you to meeting each other. And it could be just, and when they do touch points, it's not like you had to sit down and have a conversation. It could be just the brush of clothing against one another. And all these things start to pull you together closer and closer. And by the time you get married, you've had 8,000 touch points. It's very interesting because it tells the story of a immigrant that leaves Seoul, South Korea. And when they leave, she has like a child crush, and they're like 11 years old, and they really like each other. And the parents have to leave because the father's a filmmaker and he has a better opportunity up in New York. And they leave. Then it goes 12 years later. Fast forward, she's a writer and she's writing plays, and he finds her on Facebook. They find each other, and then they go through like this long time of Skyping with each other, talking back and forth. And she realizes that it's pulling her away from her career, and she wants to really focus on her career. And she asks, hey, can we please stop doing this? And you can see that it's painful for both of them because they want to find each other, but it's pulling them away from real life, from reality. So it fast forwards another 12 years, and now she's married. She's met someone. He had a girlfriend. He's broken up with his girlfriend, and he flies out to see her. and her husband is also a writer named Arthur, and he has a great scene where they're lying in bed together, and you get a lot of cultural differences too between Korea and America, and I really like the way the director highlighted those very gently, but also, hey, I'm going to point these out to you. And with Arthur laying in bed, he says to her, he starts laughing. She goes, "What are you laughing about?" And he goes, "Just this story would be amazing. The two of you find each other after so long, after you left Korea, and it's an amazing love story if you think about it." And she goes, "I'm not in love." And he goes, "No, but I know you love me, but sometimes it's hard to believe that you love me." And they're talking about this in bed, and then he rolls over and he starts laughing again. She goes, "What?" And he goes, "If this was a story, in this story, I would be the evil white American husband standing in the way of true destiny." And they both start laughing in bed next to each other. And they share a pretty cool scene where the old best friend / maybe boyfriend, you're 11, so you don't really know, and the husband and her go out. And it was honestly the only awkward scene for me in the movie because they're talking to each other in Korean for a solid 10 minutes. And he's just sitting over there, and you can tell they're being cute and they're talking. And I just kept thinking to myself, I would be so uncomfortable in this situation as the husband. And they address it. They actually do address it. The Korean guy, he doesn't speak great English, but he's been practicing his English so he'd come to America. He says, I apologize, we're talking alone together. He goes, "We won't do it anymore." And then the actor, he's trying to be very cognizant and accepting of the situation, self-aware, and he goes, "No, it's fine. You traveled through 20 years and thousands of miles to have this interaction, so I'm glad you guys did it." It's very different, but I give it a popcorn and 2. It is a good movie. It's fast, hour and 40 minutes. You're in, you're out. So yeah, popcorn and 2. Josh, you look like you have thoughts on my review.
Boy, I gotta tell you, you spun a web that I couldn't climb, but that was a lot. I was lost. I got lost, dude. What?
I apologize.
I did just smoke some marijuana, so whatever. But
what was the question? Throw the question out there.
There was no question. I was just like, huh?
Yeah. When do they get their spider powers?
All right. So Jordan, what were you watching next?
All right, I watched a couple of documentaries. I kind of double dipped, doing some homework, studying, and some documentary watching on Netflix. So I watched one called Viren Tomic, the Spider-Man of Paris. And like Madam Web, this one features no Spider-Men, no actual Spider-Men. It's an art thief documentary. It takes place in Paris. Obviously, it's French, but it's English dubbed over. It's about a guy who just has this knack for climbing the sides of French buildings and stuff. And he does a bunch of apartment heists and museum heists by climbing stuff really well. And it's interesting because the guy does not look like he has the build. I mean, obviously he's talking about a time when he was a lot younger, but just does not have the build of someone that you're like, this guy could just scale that building right now. He just doesn't look like a very athletic guy, but he does it. This is not for people who are afraid of heights. It's the guy himself is charming. He's got this kind of Robin Hood complex. It's pretty straightforward and unclimactic because
anticlimactic.
Anticlimactic. Yes, that's the word. I give this one a popcorn and 1.
Poppy 1.
Yep.
Yeah.
What was next?
The other one was a short series. I believe it's 4 episodes called "This Is a Robbery: The World's Biggest Art Heist," and it is about the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum in Boston getting, famously having 13 masterpieces stolen.
Okay.
Never been recovered. It was a very weird, twisty, turny. Who did it? Who was involved? Who wasn't? It's edited very well in that, they make it super engaging. It's a little all over the place with all the theories and stuff, but it does kind of amount to some kind of credible sense. It doesn't have the happy ending. Nobody really gets arrested. People die and take some secrets to the grave. Nothing is really ever recovered. But I give this one a popcorn and 2.
Somebody gets rich.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's all you need to know. Really quick, I watched Griselda. I forgot to review it. I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't think that she's glorified in this show like our on occasion co-host, co-guest host, guest star host Lizette tried to portray her as on her podcast. I think she was very vilified throughout the doc. I feel like they did a great job of making her a terrible person. I think there's only even the scene where they do try to say that she's saving all the Cubans and all this stuff. Even then, I'm like, nah, she's pretty terrible. Like, because look what she's doing to her family. I'm not once getting like she's being made into some hero. I thought that Sofia Vergara did a really good job portraying. Apparently,
Sofia Vergara.
Apparently, she had some prosthetics put on to look the role. It's hard to make her not look great because Sofia Vergara is an amazing looking human being. So that being said.
She's party.
They did an okay job. They did an okay job of with the prosthetics, but really the whole story is just terribly sad. Everything is terribly sad that happens in it. They had so much blood on their hands, on the family's hands. And I listened to the son's name, I think is what is it? The youngest son, the only survivor from this is the youngest son. And I think his name is like Michael Corleone Jr. or something like that. Okay. Yeah, like they named their son like Michael Corleone. It's something to that effect. But anyway, he says a lot of it didn't happen. Like the portrayal is not true at all. So it's just interesting. It's just interesting. I would give it a popcorn and 1. It's only 6 episodes though, and you do get a resolution at the end. If you're wondering, you do get a resolution at the end. So that's always a positive. They're not trying to stretch this out. They just wanted to tell you the story of Griselda. So yeah, pop and 1. Jordan.
All right. Yeah, the last couple things I watched, I'm going to start with the show on Showtime called The Curse. It was a Safdie brothers, Emma Stone, Nathan Fielder kind of thing. It's fully scripted, but it feels awkwardly unscripted, or like maybe the acting is just kind of terrible. I don't know. Besides Emma Stone, of course, she's a great actress. She acts pretty well throughout the show, but everyone else is terrible. It's kind of like it's a spoof on like HGTV and like eco-friendly buzzwords. It's kind of poking fun at like liberal sustainability stuff. Like, this is a house that doesn't need a thermostat, doesn't need an AC, it's self-temperature. It's just they drone on these things. Yeah, they drone on these long drawn out things, and it's supposed to be a joke, but it's just not funny. It's just dumb. The proposed overall premise of the whole show is just ridiculous. Like, watch the trailer and you think you have a concept of what this is about, but you don't, because I was 5 episodes into it and I had no idea what I was watching at all. I bailed halfway through it because I was hate watching it to begin with. After like the 3rd episode, I really wanted to bail. I was hate watching it, and I was going to get through this for you guys to give a complete, honest review. But then Showtime decided to change their streaming policy with Comcast, and you cannot, I guess, you have to be within your home Wi-Fi network. Bullcrap. I was not going to put that much effort into hate watching something. Not even a popcorn. Half of a piece of a popcorn. Stupid, terrible show.
It stole your life.
Dumb show. Not worth it.
What was next?
Dumb and then show. So to end this on a positive, I watched Dread for the first time, the 2012 one with Carl Urban. Some other good names in there. Olivia Thirlby, who I think is really cute. Lena Headey does a great job as acting in this. She is Cersei Lannister. She's a very good villain. And there's just there's some other recognizable faces in here. The helmet. He's really cool looking, but the helmet is just too big. He looks like the guy from Spaceballs. It's ridiculous. Like the helmet is just goofy.
Is bigger than yours.
Yeah. I actually enjoyed the like cheesy brooding dialogue of this. I thought it fits with this movie for sure, and it's brutal, gory. The action is just it's pretty awesome.
They do a little bit of what's that slow motion 300 Zack Snyder stuff.
Yeah, they do. They use that a little too much to like say like this is the effect of this drug. It slow motions you, but it was just an excuse for them to just use too much slow motion at times.
Yeah, that was at the advent of a new technology of slow motion. Like, there was the first movie to use that.
Don't you remember the movie Max Payne with Mark Wahlberg? They did it a whole bunch too. They did it a whole bunch too.
Yeah. There's something just about the concept of fighting your way through a tower that's just a winning recipe.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
you know what I mean?
Like a kung fu movie, a video game, a TV show. Like, yeah.
And that's my final note, is that this could so easily be an awesome video game. So give it to us. I would really like that. Yeah, it's total cheese, action, you know. It came out 2012. I got to watch the Stallone one, the original now.
Oh, yeah, that one's good too. You have to.
Yeah.
That's a classic.
I actually give this a popcorn and 2.
Poppin' 2.
Yeah, me too.
Judge Dredd.
Yeah.
I think it's fair. Good, Jordan, you owe us a drunk classic, and Scooby wants you to say it right now.
Yeah.
Scooby is going off.
Part 2.
Oh boy. All right. Let's see. We're going with what I was going to pick last week. And it is... Sorry, I totally wasn't ready for this.
Oh my god. I didn't know I was going to be accepting this award today. Oh my god. First, I'd like to thank my mom.
Yes. Oh man. Okay. I'm just going to throw one out. It's been on my list for a while here. Let's go with 21.
Oh, the poker movie or the blackjack movie?
Yeah, the counting cards movie.
Yeah.
Okay. That one's all right.
The original or the new one?
Is there a new one?
No, I think the new one that you're talking about with all the young folks from the 2000s. Yeah, it's a remake.
Kevin Spacey.
Yeah. The original is called what is it, Rounders or something?
Well, Rounders is its own movie, and it's amazing.
Oh, I should watch that. I've wanted to watch that.
It's on my list, so if you do it, I'll slap you. But
okay.
I'm just kidding. Josh gets me all the time, by the way. Josh will review a movie by himself that's on my list as a drunk classic, and I'm like, golly, Josh, you could choose 1,000 million billion movies.
Sometimes I do it on purpose because I know you're not allowed to review it.
All right, so 21.
Yeah.
I have seen 21. Josh, have you seen 21?
I believe I have, yes, sir.
Uh-oh.
We'll verify whether I've seen the new or the old one. I don't remember. But as far as the butter on top, do we have an idea? Because I know the Dune 40th edition is dropping, as well as Final Fantasy VII Complete is also dropping. They're both remakes.
Both old.
No, they're both they're both anniversaries being re-released in theaters.
So as usual with our butter on top, we're going to watch something new because we got to review all the new stuff. It's going to be The Last Airbender on Netflix that is unveiled this Thursday.
Okay.
So
I'm excited about
that. Oh yes.
so that comes out this Thursday on Netflix. Hopefully it's not the same as M. Night Shyamalan's trash pile.
Speaking of that, wasn't she in The Girl from Dread? Wasn't she in that too?
Was she?
I think she was. I think she was like a side character.
Olivia Thirlby?
Like maybe she was like a love interest side
Wasn't
character.
she Sokka? Or not Sokka, what's the girl's name?
I don't know any of the characters.
Yeah, I think she was the main girl.
Yeah, she was it was like a really forced love story. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, we might have to change it. It's a show.
It is a show. I thought we knew that.
No, we're gonna watch it anyway. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
All right, we're watching it anyway.
I'm gonna watch it anyway.
But yeah, there's nothing really good in the movies, but we do have Dune 2 next week. So not this week, but next week, Dune 2, where, I don't know, did you guys watch Walk the Red Carpet, Zendaya and Timothée Chalamet? Did you see Zendaya's outfit?
No.
Well, she was a clear see-through thing, weird robot thing?
Looking like C-3PO out there on the runway. And everybody was acting like it was original. I was like, Star Wars did this in 1964. But
no, I don't care. If you're wearing armor on the red carpet, I am down. I love it. It's just
wait, hold on.
What are you doing?
Jordan said Jordan nailed it. It was a see-through armor, right? But someone had the funniest comment. They're like, could you imagine if she farted in this and the back cheeks just steamed up?
Yeah.
All right, everyone. So, Jordan, where can they find us?
On X at Popcorn and Beer.
and X gonna give it to you. So we appreciate you joining us each and every week for a review of all of these movies. We know we throw a lot at you, and we promise there will be more bits coming soon. We are working on them. We just got to get it right. So as always, we will see you at the movies. You bring the popcorn. We got the beer.